Hello. I have decided that, so I was going to do a get ready with me with makeup, and I may still do that. But right now I'm going to do my nails. And it's kind of a long situation. Kind of takes a while, and I may not record the entire shebang. It makes sense not to, because it takes a minute. But I just wanted to do something for this YouTube channel because I said I would. I made the YouTube channel, and then I just was like, hey, I'm gonna do a YouTube channel, and then I just disappeared. See you later. So anyway, I'm going through my nail bag here. It's literally just a man toiletry bag. It was my ex-boyfriend. So thanks, Jay. Thanks so much. I kind of asked people on Snapchat what color to do it, and I got like 4 or 5 replies. I got a teal, I've got a light blue, which I'm really leaning towards, like a light blue, but I'm probably going to do the light blue with some other spring colors because I do like a good spring moment. So maybe that one, and then like a baby pink that kind of looks like the color of these beige ass walls. So maybe a yellow. I do love me some spring moments here. I haven't used this nail bag in such a long time that everything in here is kind of just a little bit crazy. This is the closest thing I have to teal, and I don't know if it's because I'm just so white or what it is, but it looks very strange. Also, it has that shimmer in it, and it is unforgiving. So if you mess up at all, it's like, hey, look where she messed up. And there's a lot of those places because, I'm not really that great at it. So most of the time I would do acrylics. Oh, somebody requested orange, and I may do orange. I wish it was like such a more pastel, but it's like hard hat construction worker color, right? So I'm gonna leave it out just because somebody requested it. I may use it. I may do it. So what was I saying? Here's another orange that's not so, but it's just so fall. I would do like accent nail, rest of these, and I still might. I don't know. What was I saying before I went off on the orange tangent? Welcome to my life. I can't remember anything. That's gonna drive me crazy. Oh. So most of the time I do acrylics, which are you put on the nail on your finger, or you put on a tip, and then you go in with your powder and you form it, and you use your drill, that thing, and then you've got your own acrylics. Today I'm not doing that because I don't feel like breathing in the dust today, and I don't have a mask. So we're just gonna half-ass it. And I'm not gonna use I'm not gonna do acrylics today. This is my matte top coat, which I may use. I do like the color of matte. If your name is Matt, that just sounded funny. I also have green. I do like a good green moment. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not gonna do that. I, for some reason, am like drawn to this. I don't know why. It needs a pink in there. It does. I need a pink in there. I love a good pink moment. Purple. I'm just taking out all the colors. I don't really have an idea. What I need to do is get this organized and put in a closet somewhere. But you know, this is so old that the brush is probably hard. Let me see. Not hard, but it's pretty gone. What a shame. And I think my baby pinks are they're kind of checked out, I think. I got some fun sparkles. Here's the pink. I don't know what I want. Have to do some thinking. The yellow. So I guess I'm crazy about magenta. And here's like an almost red. Purple. I'm gonna have to just think about it. For now, we're just going to do the cuticle situation and I gotta wash his shirt because my boob just likes to like take a kamikaze leap right out of my shirt. So let's not do that. Let's not do that, boob. We have to get on the same page. Usually it's so bright in here. It's so like happy and bright. And today, I don't know if it's cloudy outside. It kind of looks cloudy. It's not today. Gotta do Germex. Kind of have to just, I'm kind of at the mercy of what I have like right here, because being such a gigantic person and being in this apartment for only a little bit of time has kind of only allowed me to, I have a nightmare happening over here, so don't mind me, I'm just dealing with my nightmare. I guess I should check my glue situation too. I'm not really paying attention to anything I'm doing. Slurping is annoying and I'm sorry that just happened. Sorry. So I did most of the cuticles the other night, so let's just see if I can go through it. Because I'm so large and I don't know how good I am on my feet yet, I know that I can stand up to get to my toilet. I know I can stand up and walk for however long my physical therapist needs me to, but I'm not one to push myself. Like, pushing myself can be very dangerous because if I fall, if I'm like, oh yeah, I think I'm fucking Rocky today, and I get up and I start pushing myself and then I fall, that's going to be trouble. And it's going to be trouble especially if I'm in a little place like this hallway. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it, but over here in this hallway, it's pretty small over there. The hallway is. And if I fall in the hallway, they're going to have to probably cut out pieces of the wall to get people in there to help me up. And I don't want to do that. I'm sure the apartment complex would rather me not do that too. we're now like actively looking for we're actively looking for somebody to come and make my front door wider, because I am a wide person, and in the event that I go into cardiac arrest or something and they have to try to bring me back while they're trying to load me up, there's no way I'm gonna die before they get me out of this little door. So we got it approved, and so the fire department themselves are working with me to get a contractor to come make the door bigger. So they presented this idea to me like last week, and I was like crying. And they're like, "Man, this is good news." And I said, "I know, I'm just so happy." Like, people don't care about me like that. And it was just so sweet to me that somebody would go out of their way to like speak for me, like, "Hey, she needs this," and whatever. And when I move out of here, because I'm still actively losing weight, so when I get out of here, I'm going to be they can rent this place out to somebody who needs like a wheelchair access to the door. It still doesn't make the hallways wheelchair accessible, but at least you can get through the front door. And that's all we're looking for. I wouldn't even know how they could make the bathroom, you could probably make it like a walk-in shower, or one of those fun bathtubs you see on like those commercials where the people go in and they sit down and then they close the door and fill the water up. That sounds amazing to me. I would love that. But the hallways, that's the biggest problem. My sheet's just coming off my bed. It was like yeet. Yeeted itself right off the bed. So, anyways, that's kind of what's been going on with me. I wanted to go kind of go over, for those of you who wanted to like know about like why I was in the hospital. And I made notes, but it's like even my notes were just taking a flying leap into like, what was I doing? Because I was in that hospital for so freaking long. I'm not going to suck out of the straw anymore. It's making that slurpy noise. So I just couldn't. So think about what 7 months is, and think about all the stuff that you do in 7 months. Like, it was like that, only it was like just a fucking crazy nightmare. And then when I would write down what I was doing and what I could remember, I would remember something else, and it was just thing after thing after thing. It was just craziness. So I was in a teaching hospital. I guess I can say it now that I'm out. It was University of Colorado Hospital, and so I got a lot of patients in there. I would always joke and say, like if we were doing something about like cleaning me up or putting in a Purewick or something like that, I would always joke and say, if you can do it with me, you can do it with anybody. If you can master it on an 800, 900 pound person, you've got it. You pick the perfect person to come in. This is me just trying to break the ice with people. That's pretty much my whole life. Breaking the ice with people so they're not awkward. Now, some people still remain awkward, but most of the time it works, and I like that. A lot of people have said, so if I'm like, self-deprecating humor, blah, 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 and then they say, don't ever say that about yourself. I used to be like, okay, whatever. But now I'm just like, I say that about myself because assholes will come at me and be mean to me. So if I make fun of myself first, then it takes their bullets away. So I explain that to them whenever they try to preach to me about not being nice to myself. And I'm not about it, right? Just let me do what I do. And then they understand and we move on with our lives. So, University of Colorado Hospital, teaching hospital, I'm super fat, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. So I went in to University of Colorado Hospital because they had the ability to have like Hoyer lifts and things that are like strong enough. Most hospitals have like up to 500-pound capacity with most stuff, but they had up to 1,000 pounds. And so that's why I went there. And so the reason I went in the first place, you'll never guess it, is this top molar on this side wasn't my wisdom tooth. I don't have those. But not that I wasn't born without the ability to have wisdom teeth, it's because I've had them removed. I ran out of breath. So this top right tooth was so fucked up that my entire face was just chipmunk on my right side. And so I was like, fuck. So I went into the hospital and they did their thing and whatever. And then I was like, okay, when am I going to go home? I was real excited to just get the hell back out of there and go home. And they said, well, the ambulance that will take you home is broken. Something about it's broken. And they're waiting for a part. Because I won't fit into just any regular hospital. Or what am I saying? Any regular ambulance. It has to be something special. So I waited and I waited and I waited. So I went in July 28th. And then they got the ambulance to come get me on the August the 15th. And I was like, okay, fucking finally. So I get on the stretcher and we're off to come home. Well, I get to the apartment and it is so to get into the apartment, my old apartment, you had to go up 8 steps. Sounds easy to everybody. It sounds easy to me, really. And I was like, whatever. It sucks to get up the steps. But once I'm up, good to go, blah, blah, blah. I get up 2 stairs and I cannot do anymore. And I was just so full of fluid that I couldn't go one more step. And I said, the fire department people were like, so let's just, get you out. And I said, well, what am I going to do? I can't go back to the hospital. I'm not sick. Like, what? And they were like, well, it's not safe for you here and we cannot get you up these stairs. They said, we're just going to have to take you back. And I begged them to try to troubleshoot so we could get me up into my apartment. And it was so close. And I could see my boyfriend standing up there. He's now my ex-boyfriend, but he's just standing there. And I'm just like, please, Jay, please help me up. Well, they had to take me back. And I cried the entire way. Can you hear the doggos? They're loud. They're like, bark, bark, bark. Barka, 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 barka. I'm a doggo. Barka, barka, barka. Anyways, so they take me back to the hospital, and I'm crying the whole way. I just cried and cried and cried and cried and cried and cried and cried. When they were getting me out of the ambulance, they scraped up. So if you look at my belly, I am so itchy. I'm so sorry. If you look at my belly, it catches on everything. So we're trying to come out of the ambulance and it just scrapes up both sides. And it was just awful. It was awful. And it's awful, even more awful when you are full of fluid, because that fluid will just drain out of you. It'll just weep out of you. And when I say weep, because you will hear me say that again, probably multiple times, weep means just kind of just dripping fluid, your own fluid from your body, Is that disgusting? Yes. But it is my problem. And we get back to the hospital. They admit me again. And this is the first of months and months of being in the freaking hospital. So I just have this meeting with the, for goodness gracious. I have a meeting with the case manager. Great guy. We talk about what's going on and we say, okay, we need to find another apartment. Because like, I couldn't get up the stairs. So I think, okay, this isn't going to be a big deal. You know, how much time could it take, right? So maybe that's why it fucked up, because I thought that. Like, oh, she thinks it's not going to take a lot of time. Well, it did. It took my whole life. It took forever. So I mean, we just start looking for apartments. I look online and I'm just looking and looking and looking and just calling and putting in applications, which are not free and they're non-refundable applications. So annoying. And it was just a nightmare. And I would put in these applications and everything, and I found this nice place probably a week after. I don't know what that noise was. There's a noise. And we get the application turned in, and blah, 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 and they tell me it's first floor, it's everything that I need it to have. I was so excited. It was like right by a lake, probably man-made, but I don't care. It was by a lake, and I was going to be able to see geese, and I was just so excited. Then they call us the next day, not the next day, probably 4 or 5 days later, and they say, do you mind if it's 1 floor up? We gave your apartment away. And so the case manager explained, no, it can't be anywhere else but the first floor. Because if it was anything else but the first floor, we would be exactly in the same problem that we were having, as to why I can't move. So we do that a couple more times. People were like, well, it has everything, blah, blah, blah. But, and then when they said but, it was like this thing that you can't get around it, And we just kept doing this. And I was like, okay, I would think to myself, at least I'm not sick. I'm in this hospital. It sucks. I have like this constant state of guilt that I'm in for taking up a room when I'm not sick. And I would say this to the nurses. I would say this to the doctors. I said it many times to my boyfriend, ex now, but I'm like, I'm not sick. I'm just taking up this room. I'm not sick. While I was there, though, I was on like a regimen where they would come in, physical therapy would come in, and I would exercise with them daily, about 2 times a day. And so I was like, at least I'm doing something, right? I'm getting stronger. I'm doing something. I'm working. So there you go. So then I am waiting, we're doing our thing, living my life. And one night I just start shivering really hard and I don't know what's wrong. And I'm just like it was so bad. And my whole body hurt. This is before coronavirus came around. And it was bad. It was really bad. And so they did tests and they came to the conclusion that I had some sort of a blood infection or something. I don't really recall what it's called. I mean, I'd have to look it up. I have got it saved somewhere, and so everybody had to gown up before they would come into my room. And so that just consisted of them putting on a mask and PPE over their stuff. And I was just this precaution because I had this infection. And from that day forward, I never saw anybody in their real scrubs. It was always the mask and the whatever. So that was shitty, and I had to come back from that. And then soon after that, I started having this weeping situation happen, which was like I would just reach down and touch my belly or something, and my hand would come back wet. It still is so gross. And I hated it. I hated everything about it. I still do. And so I don't know why the infection brought that on, but it did. And so yeah. There was also a lot of weeping from the wounds that were created by the ambulance people trying to get me out of the ambulance or into the ambulance or something. I can't remember what in or out. Probably both. And so I'm just like drainage everywhere. And that's disgusting. And I know it's disgusting, and you can believe that I know that you're thinking that it's disgusting, but it's fucking disgusting. And it would have like and this is like probably TMI. And I guess if you don't want to hear it, you can stop right now. I'll give you a couple seconds to reevaluate your life if you want to hear this or not. Okay, here we go. So it would just smell. So not only was it weeping, it was like it would smell. And I was just so frustrated with it all the time. You couldn't... They always had some sort of like a situation, like a covering or something over it, so it would not get everywhere. It wouldn't get my sheets and everything all wet. That's disgusting, and I know it is. But that started maybe late August, early September, and it's still going. It's still fucking going. It won't stop. And I am so frustrated with it. It's the one thing in the world that is like literally just driving me to insanity. It is so... It's gross. It's... the fluid retention, and you know, the more fluid I'm retaining, the worse the weeping is. And it's bad. And then they give me like Lasix. In the hospital, it was okay because I had a PureWick in. And the PureWick is, it kind of looks like a dildo and it's long, and it's like blue, but in the middle there's a sponge, and when you would pee, you were like hooked to the wall, and when you would pee, it would just suck to the wall in this canister on the wall. And when I was on Lasix, I mean, I was peeing and peeing and peeing and peeing, and still was so full of fluid. Like, pee all you want, but you're still going to be full of fluid. And so we would try to battle it with that. And, you know, some days, and these were good days, I would wake up and I would not have so much liquid everywhere. Like the pads that I would sleep on weren't nearly as full of fluid as they were the day before. And so it would be a good day. And I'll never forget, like, that time, the first time that I would think, oh my gosh, It's coming to an end. Oh my gosh, this is great. I learned quick not to get my hopes up too high because it was coming back. Not just coming back, but it would come back tenfold. It was bad. So my good days, I take them as good days, but I know deep down that it's coming back. There's no like, oh my gosh, it stopped. We can move on and just see this as a memory. It doesn't work like that. So, that was a constant. I think that this whole weeping stuff is some sort of a reason that, because I think that the weeping happened a little bit before actually the infection happened. And so I think when that started, it gave my body, it gave like way for infection to just find its way into my body. And so whatever, that happened. So we're waiting and waiting, looking for apartments, waiting. People weren't very good with paperwork. Then we hit the holidays. Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's. Oh, it's still going. I got a low battery thing. So Christmas, New Year's, Thanksgiving, blah, blah, blah. All these were and when people mess up paperwork on holidays, it seems to be worse. It just makes you wait more. And it was just kind of crazy, blah, blah, blah. I broke up with my boyfriend in, when was that? January? Like mid-January or something? It was pretty hard on me. Yeah. So, the reason that I was in the hospital this whole time was just a lot of, it was like a lot of, hurry up and wait, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. And it's, it was my fault, and like everybody that I express this to always says, you're not going to get anything from feeling guilty. Especially now that I'm out of the hospital and in here and in my own apartment, and I'm not taking anybody's hospital bed up or whatever. Like, you're not going to get anything from feeling guilty. Because I still do, and I can't make that feeling go away. I wish that I could. The feeling of guilt that I took up that bed. But I'm working through it. So, that seems like, if I broke it down even more, if I tried to give you, more, I'm not very good at talking and doing things. Can you tell? Can you tell that? It's awful. It's, like if I could tell you such and such happened here, or I did a lot of headbutting with the nurses. I had a lot of encounters with people. A lot of just headbutting all the time. There was always something wrong, stuff just wouldn't go smoothly sometimes, and I met people that I loved in there. I met people that I hated in there. Luckily, it was more love than hate. And I never want to see a hospital again. Last night I got sick, and when I saw my physical therapy guy, he was like, just let me call dispatch health. And I said, I don't really want to. I don't want to call dispatch health because I had like a fever and I didn't feel very good and I was nauseous, and I was like, I've got some medication for the nausea, and I'll take some Tylenol for the fever. I don't really want to see him. And he was like, just humor me and like just let me call him, and so I did it. I let him call. But then after he left, I canceled. Because I don't want somebody to come in and be like, you need to go to the hospital. Because I don't want to go to the hospital. I don't want to see the hospital. If I'm not dying, don't take me to the hospital. It's the last thing I want to do. I used to be such a healthy, independent person who was nothing like this person. And I think it's pretty funny to think about, like, I was just a completely different human being. And I just can't. I tell, like, boyfriends or people that, like, you wouldn't have even known the Samantha who was me if you were to look at me, say, 15 years ago. I've changed so much. Or if I had to look into the future and see from when I was, 25 or so, I would be like, what the fuck? What the hell is that? I don't want to do that. But sometimes we don't get what we want. You know what I mean? And this was all like completely like, it didn't have to be like this. It didn't. So, shoulda, woulda, coulda, But as of the last day I was at the hospital this last time, and I can't even really tell you when I came home. I'll say 2 weeks ago, I was down 174 pounds. So, suck on that, bitches. I'm just kidding. Just call me lazy if you must. If it makes you feel better to call me lazy, go ahead. But that's almost 200 pounds. I can't even really wrap my head around it. 200 pounds. I lift weights with my physical therapist, and when he hands me the 10 pounds, the 10-pounder weights, I just imagine that times like 1,000 trillion. And I'm just like, how do I do this? How do I carry this? How do I walk? How do I sit up? How do I live with with all this weight on me? Like, how do I do it? Like, I think that there needs to be a time when I just sit back and appreciate my body and all it's been through, everything I've thrown at it. Like, I have to appreciate it, and I don't really think that I've done enough appreciating. It's just I'm just always complaining about, oh my God, I'm too fat. It's just always complaining, and I need to sit down and appreciate it. Appreciate that it's gotten me this far, that it's strong enough to allow me to walk. That it's, it's not an easy feat. It's not an easy feat. So that's a new thing that I'm doing is that's almost kind of like meditation, but really what it is just me appreciating my body, like specific things that it does. Like all the time we're pushing myself on the seconds that I can stand. And I know to normal people, thinking about seconds with exercise sounds silly, but I started at 10 seconds with marching, like just standing and then marching my legs. I could only do 10 seconds and I almost died every time. And I never thought that I was going to get past 10. I said, this is way too hard. Who am I kidding, Deep down inside, I know that, of course, I can go more than 10 seconds. And then I just have to think. But it's so hard right at that moment that I'm just like, I'm not going to be able to do this. And now I'm up to almost a minute. A minute marching. I look like I'm about to die at the end. For sure. I really do. I look like I'm about to die at the end. But a minute. I just dropped that on the floor and it just rolled down my body. That's what it does. And then I just have to watch it do it. I thanked myself today. I thanked myself and my body and my ability to push myself harder. Every time that I have to exercise, I thank myself. I went further than I did yesterday. Even if it's by like 1 second. It's further than we went yesterday. And that's really, it's helped. It's been one of the things that has helped. Just to appreciate what I can do and giving myself the credit for it, Instead of, because I was very big on, if I didn't do what I thought like I could, so I might start doing something and I'm like, I have this in my head and I want to do it for 45 seconds. And then I do it and I can only get to like 30 seconds. If I don't make that 45 seconds, I just beat the shit out of myself mentally. Like, you piece of shit. You couldn't even get your fat ass up and do it 45 seconds. What the hell's wrong with you? And I was so mean to myself. But now it's all, like, I have to be my own cheerleader. There's nobody else in here cheering for me. I have to do it. So, it's a learning thing. It's a learning thing. It's after I did that and I made myself be my own cheerleader for, a week or so, I realized, even if it's like faking it, even if I feel like I don't deserve that cheering, I am still going to cheer myself on. It's the only way. It's helping me. It's like, it's helping me. And anything that works, can you just see these things flying in the air? I'm never gonna ever take the little things in life for granted ever again either. And I'm talking like really little tiny things that people don't think about. The ability to walk to the kitchen and get yourself your own drink. I'll never take that for granted again. The ability to sit in one place for 45 minutes instead of having to lay yourself flat because all your weight is just making your whole butt go to sleep. That too. This is really close to me. I don't like it. Showers. I'll never take showers for granted again. Ever in my life. I've been doing this for 45 minutes.